What's good, everybody? Now, one of my personal favorite physiques in Bollywood is Varun Dhawan's physique. There's not a single bro who's looked at Varun Dhawan's chest and not gone, damn son, those are some good looking pecs. And that's what today's video is about. Today's video is all about how to get that perfect Varun Dhawan chest through a simple scientific chest workout. Now, when we're talking about a chest from an anatomy standpoint, it's a little bit complex. But you and me, we're bodybuilding bros. So from a bodybuilding standpoint, the only part of the chest that contributes to how you look is the pectoralis major or the pec muscle. Now, the pec major is made up of two main parts. The first is the clavicular head and the second is the sternal head. You gotta keep in mind that both these heads attach at the humerus, that's a bone near your bicep muscle. The clavicular head attaches at your clavicle, which is a bone here. And the sternal head attaches here, which is at the base of your chest. So in order to achieve that perfect Varun Dhawan chest, it's all about targeting your sternal head, your clavicular head and the overall mass of your pec major. Now before we get to the actual workout, there's a few concepts you gotta keep in mind. The first concept is that in any pushing movement, any movement where you're pushing a weight away from your chest, you're not just working your chest, you're also working your shoulders and your tricep. And this brings me to my second concept, the concept of volume. Now in one of my past videos, I spoke about volume in detail, so make sure you check that out before watching this video. Basically for now, all you need to know is that volume is the total intensity with which you're pushing your muscle. So volume is essentially the weight you lift into the number of reps you do. So suppose I'm pushing 5 kgs for 10 reps, my overall volume is 50 kgs. And over time, your aim should be to increase the volume of your training. Now, when you're training your chest, your triceps and your shoulders are also put through some amount of volume. But in saying that, keep in mind that my personal opinion is that as a beginner and intermediate lifter, your chest is a very important aspect of your overall physique. I believe that when you're hitting your chest, you want to maximize the load on your chest. And initially, at least for a year of training, you should take your chest as one separate workout and not include too much tricep or shoulder work. So to actually build a chest, you need to do a few basic movements, but you need to do a lot of sets of those movements. So when you're doing a lot of sets of those movements, you're increasing the overall volume and the damage you're causing on your chest, which in turn will lead to a bigger, more massive, stronger chest. The next concept, as with any of my other Bollywood Bodies videos, is the concept of failure. So failure is essentially in a workout when you're doing a set and your muscle completely wears out towards the end of the set. That's called taking it till failure. And taking your workout till failure on every set is not a good idea. It leads to injuries. And that's why in this particular workout, I'll be talking in terms of percentages of failure. So if I say that if you take this particular set to 80% of failure, it means that you stop while you still have 2 reps left in your tank. You shouldn't completely wear off your muscle in that one set. And finally, if you're new to BeerBiceps, remember on this channel, we focus a lot on the form of the exercise. How you perform the exercise matters a lot more than any other factor. So make sure you check out my video on the basic chest workout to make sure that your form is correct. Okay, and finally, before we get to the actual workout plan, keep in mind that the written version is in the description below. So make sure you check that out. Now, in order to get that slightly bouncy looking armor-like Varun Dhawan chest, it's all about pressing movements. Especially a pressing movement where your spine is straight. So anything like a bench press or a push-up. But in this particular plan, we're going to be starting the workout with a simulated bench press, as I call it. I feel that in terms of chest workouts, the most important movement is the push-up. Before you move on to this fancy dumbbell work in the gym, master the basic push-up and you're good to go. So in this particular workout plan, there's 2 ways that the workout can start. The first is for people who can't do push-ups that easily. So if you're one of those people who finds push-ups a little bit hard, initially you'll take 3 sets of push-ups where you'll be going to about 80% of failure in all those 3 sets. And if you're one of those bros who can easily churn out about 10 to 12 reps of push-ups in every set, to make it harder, consider taking up weighted push-ups where you place a plate on your back. So initially in your first set, you'll do a free push-up set of about 12 reps. Then load your back with a weight of about 10 kgs and take it to 80% of failure. Now the rep range for an 80% failure set will vary anywhere between 4 reps to 10 reps. So remember, don't push too hard. You don't want to injure yourself. You just want to warm your body up for all those dumbbell presses. So your second set will be about 80% of failure and your third set will also be in around the same range. And if you can take it 1 or 2 reps further than the second set, do that. Now push-ups are a great exercise for building the strength base of your chest, but today's video is more about a bodybuilding perspective. We all want that Varun Dhawan chest. Now you gotta understand that your pec major is made up of two parts, the sternal head and the clavicular head. Now your sternal head or the lower part of your chest makes up about 2/3 of the pec major, and the clavicular head makes up only 1/3 of the pec major. Now what I've seen in India especially is that a lot of people like to start their chest workouts with incline presses. Now this is actually a wrong approach. You should actually be giving more importance to the sternal head training because it's the bigger part of your chest. And when you're focusing your training on the bigger part of your chest, most of your chest is also getting worked in the process. That's why in today's workout, we're going to be all about that decline bench press. Now from an aesthetic standpoint, what a decline bench press is giving you by working your sternal head is that it's kind of giving you that square shaped chest. You know, Varun Dhawan's got that going for him. When you look at a shirtless picture of Varun Dhawan, that's what you notice first. You go, damn, that's one good looking square shaped chest. So in this particular exercise, you want to churn out at least 4 or 5 sets. If you can, remember, take it till 5 sets. So for the decline press, select a dumbbell such that you're able to take the exercise up to 12 reps, and 12 reps correspond with 80% of failure. In the next 2 sets, you take a slightly heavier dumbbell and it should again be 80% of failure, but this time at 10 reps. And in your final 2 sets, increase the weight and take it to 80% of failure, but this time you only go up from 8 to 10 reps. Okay, now that we're done with the decline press, it's time for the second most important exercise, the incline dumbbell bench press. If you look at pictures of Varun Dhawan where his fat percent is really low, you'll see that his clavicular head of his chest is actually very well developed. And your clavicular head being developed contributes to you having that chest line. So as we did with the decline dumbbell press where you did a basic movement but you did a lot of sets of it, you'll do the same thing with the incline dumbbell press. So churn out 4 sets at least. When the first set you go up to 12 reps with your selected dumbbell. Then for the next 2 sets, increase the weight and go up to 10 reps. And for the final set, once again, you increase the weight and go up to 8 reps. So quick recap, we've done the push-up, the decline press and the incline press. But remember, this is a bodybuilding based workout. And bodybuilding is all about targeting your chest in different ways. So to just change up what your chest is going through, we'll move on from pressing movements to fly movements. So next we'll take up 3 sets of the basic chest fly. Either a flat fly on the floor or on a flat bench, or a slightly inclined fly on an inclined bench, for again working on your clavicular head a little bit more than your sternal head. My personal opinion is that every week you should alternate between the two. But keep in mind that you want to churn out at least 3 sets of dumbbell flies in all your chest workouts. Now, very important thing to note is that the dumbbell fly is an isolation exercise where there's going to be a lot of load on your shoulders as well. So you need to make sure you're getting the form of this correct, and you got to make sure that you're taking a super light weight. Remember, in this exercise is more about the form of the exercise. So every time you're doing a fly, you want to squeeze at the top. So keeping in mind the squeezing at the top, you take super light weights where you're completely in control of the movement. In the first set, you select a weight such that you can go up to 14 to 16 reps. In the second set, you increase the weight slightly and go up to about 12 to 14 reps. And in your third and final set, you increase the weight a little more and you go up to 10 to 12 reps. So 3 sets of free dumbbell flies are good enough, but from a bodybuilding perspective, we want to increase the volume in terms of how many flies we give our chest. So personally, I like taking the pec fly machine or the pec deck machine and churning out 3 sets. Now, whenever you're doing a machine-based movement like this, your stabilizers are not getting worked as they are in a free dumbbell exercise. But what's happening is that your single muscle is getting a little more isolated and there's a little more load on that particular muscle. So when I'm taking up the machine fly, my chest is being slightly more loaded than it was in the basic free dumbbell machine. Okay guys, and the final movement is completely optional. Keep that in mind. We've already made our chest undergo a lot of volume of work through all these exercises. But if you want to take it just a little bit further and make sure that your chest is a little extra sore the next day, adopt parallel bar dips. There isn't a single exercise in the world that works your chest, shoulder and tricep muscles as hard as this particular exercise. And what's even more important, this also helps in core stabilization. So it's just making you a stronger individual besides adding a little bit of volume to your chest workout. and you hit it with about 3 sets where you can go anywhere between 6 to 12 reps depending on how good you are at this exercise and how much energy you have on the day. And that pretty much covers it all. Remember, bodybuilding isn't about doing a lot of different exercises. It's about doing those few exercises a lot of times. That's why even though this workout might seem a little bit boring with the same basic movements just done with a lot of sets, it's super effective for building that Varun Dhawan body armor. Hey guys, so that was the video for today. If you liked it, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Keep in mind that I've already covered the Hrithik Roshan style back workout and the Salman Khan leg workout in my Bollywood Bodies series. So if you want to check them out, make sure you check out my Bollywood Bodies playlist. Either way guys, if you want to follow my personal fitness journey, follow me on Instagram at BeerBiceps and on Snapchat at ranveer.1693. That's my Facebook page, make sure you give that a like as well. So until next time guys, from BeerBiceps, see you.